Welcome to TechSpace today. Today we will be discussing the evolving role of automation in textile dyeing operations with a particular focus on Bangladesh and global perspective. So thank you, Mr. Allen and Mr. Dr. Arifur Rahman. Today we have two distinguished experts, Mr. Allen, Brinsmead Advisor, Logic Art Automation, Dr. Mohammad Arifur Rahman, Managing Director, Logic Art Bangladesh Limited. To begin this interview, I would like to ask Mr. Allen, could you please briefly introduce yourselves and share your professional journey, particularly your involvement in textile processing and automation briefly?
I have been involved in the colour using industry and in more specifically textiles for about the last years through my career with Data Colour, Managing Director Asia Pacific, and then moving on to market development for Logic Art Automation for Southeast Asia until semi-retirement at the beginning of this year. So I've spent about 25 years with Logic Art.
Globally, dye house automation is evolving from basic machine control to fully integrated systems with real-time monitoring, recipe control, and data analytics, and enabling consistency, efficiency, reduce waste. So how do you evaluate the current level of automation adoption in global dye house, and where do you still see the biggest gap for improvement?
Okay, thank you. That is a very good question. I think to answer it fully, we need to understand the history of dye house automation. Dye house automation has been available since the 1980s in the form of dye stuff and chemical weighing and distribution systems. This was largely driven from Europe by the need to reduce labour costs, elimination human error, and indeed increasing health and safety legislation, especially out of Europe regarding chemical handling. These early systems provided accurate dispensing, increased productivity, reduced labour costs, but were generally purchased in isolation from any other textile machinery or system. That isolation has led to further problems when considering integration of systems, and obviously these advantages in the 20th century were not available as they are today. It is also true to say that some early adopters failed with textile automation for various reasons, which led to a degree of skepticism as to the effectiveness of textile automation. So where do we stand today? Today the situation is totally different. The tools exist to integrate systems with each other, thanks to the rapid development opportunities provided by the development of IoT, AI, Industry 4.0 standards. These changes are fundamentally changing the inherent models of what was traditional textile factories. Now, creating smart production is becoming mandatory. It is no longer a question of dye house automation as such. It is what I would call smart manufacturing. Manufacturers today are suffering reduced margins, higher costs, difficulty with labour retention or actual availability. The textile buyers, often referred to as the specifiers, are making further demands for real-time analysis of information to optimize results in critical processes. The demands of these global buyers is for more traceability, adherent to ethical ESG manufacturing standards, and their specific requirements for each of the dye houses to become a certified supplier. Hardware and software is continuing to develop, allowing information exchange, information capture from across the whole of the textile value chain, be that from items like lab to bolt, repeatability, from ERP to production scheduling links, for the monitoring of energy usage, the measurement of carbon emission, waste management, and so on. Today's smart management solutions provide the information required for companies to take informed decisions as to their future. The major gap today is for primarily existing dye houses. It is existing dye houses, the infrastructure and plant planning is often haphazard, not planned, and requires considerable effort to start to be able to recover data. A lot of that is down to people not planning properly in the first place. The problem then exists that there is no single solution that is applicable to all factories or all sectors of the textile industry. The requirements of an exhaust dye house compared to the requirements of a continuous dye house or compared to a vertical integrated plant may vary significantly. Thus, to my mind, there is no single solution that will fit everybody. Each installation requires tailor-made solutions to achieve the desired results of a particular company. Whilst, in general terms, newer greenfield projects naturally assess their needs, the existing factories need to invest time and money in consultancy to provide structured investment plans that can be implemented in stages, thus providing suitable solutions for individual units, which include what I would call future-proofing. No company should take an action today in isolation of how they would wish to see their plant develop longer term. So that is the gap I am presently seeing in the market.
With your extensive experience in implementing dye house automation across different regions in the world, it's clear that success depends not only on the technology, but also on process optimization, standardization, workforce readiness, and management commitment, like investment. So, based on your global experience, how can Bangladesh effectively adopt dye house automation, and what practical roadmap would you suggest for a smooth and scalable transition in Bangladesh?
Okay. First and foremost is that any such project must have the total commitment of the owners or senior management of the company. Without their full support, systems are likely to fail. Secondly, I believe they need to accurately assess the needs of their own company. As I mentioned before, there is no single solution for any one company. Each company will need to assess what is its priorities. Next, I would suggest that there needs to be an analysis of the key pain points that negatively affect the company's present performance. By doing this, companies will be able to focus their efforts on the key and major issues first. Next, they need to base a phased installation program based on the financial constraints of their company. For existing dye houses, it is not feasible in many cases to invest in dye house automation or smart manufacturing from scratch. Companies, through the analysis of what is important to them, through the benefits that they will achieve, need to decide what is important to their company and how they can afford that. Next, I consider managing change as a very key important factor. Companies who believe that they can just replicate manually based systems into an automatic system have less chance of successful implementation than those who accept that change is necessary and that they readily embrace the need to change management. As an example, which I often use for simplicity's sake, when you change from manually writing letters to how you store them, how you trace them, and how you spell check them, to Microsoft Word, you need to change your approach. The software will not be adapted to meet your manual standards. Next, I guess, is another or probably the most important point after a company has accepted the need for change. They need to invest time and money to engage professional consultancy to assist in their planning process that reflects the possible ROI, that reflects the time frame required for installation, and that answers or addresses all the pain points defined by the company. Once all those items are considered, then each company has to design their own roadmap that reflects what is important to them. Where do they see the main issues? Where will the main benefit come from? What is needed for relationships with the major international buyers to create conformity? And then lastly, die-house automation is all about providing data and information. Companies need to use the data to formulate and to make decisions based on the evidence given in a real-time environment. This will provide the benefit that companies desire and is a large reason for full die-house automation success, the planning or the use of the data that the systems provide. It is not a tool necessarily to resolve the problems. It is a tool that also provides the roadmap for informed decisions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alan. So I would like to ask one question that how do you see the future of dye house automation evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? And what should industry stakeholders in Bangladesh prioritize today to stay competitive in the global market?
I believe that the adoption of smart manufacturing systems are critical to the expansion of the Bangladesh textile market as a number 2 or 3 supplier of clothing to the world. These days, markets are driven by the key purchasers, the key brands, which I would refer to as the specifiers. Their demands for transparency, for traceability, and real-time information are a cornerstone of their relationship with their suppliers. Thus, any Bangladesh factory needs to work with their with their customers to ensure that they are providing the right information at the right time in the right place. Bangladesh has a great future in textiles, provided that it moves forward, provided that it trains its young textile graduates in the process of change, provided that the courses offered by the universities include the subjects of dye house system integration, not just segments on dye house achievement. The country will live and die by its efficiency. God willing, the price of fuel will stabilize and that Bangladesh remains a major player in world textiles. If people invest, if the new plants that are able to run through the supply of energy in a timely manner, Bangladesh has every possibility of becoming at least the second worldwide supplier for textiles in the world.
Now I would like to go Dr. Mohammad Arifur Rahman, Managing Director, Logic at Bangladesh Limited. So, Mr. Arifur Rahman, as global brands increasingly demand traceability, as Alan sir said, lower carbon footprint, consistent quality, dye house are undergoing pressure to transition to a data-driven and automated operation. So, how can automation help Bangladesh dye house align with this evolving buyer requirements, and what risks do factories face if they delay this transition? Yes.
Thank you, TechSpace and Mr. Mithun, for inviting me today for this interview. I'm Arifur Rahman, and I work in Logicat for around 8 years, and we established Logicart Bangladesh in 2019. And from then, I am taking care the Logicart Bangladesh office. So Logicart actually is a global brand who not only provide the automation system, but also provide the consultancy solution for the textile industries all over the world. So you actually asked a very interesting question. Actually, this is actually I differentiate with two parts. One is how can automated dye house align with the evaluation buyer requirement, and the second is what the risks do factories face if they delay this transition.
Yes,
The
yes,
pressure you mentioned is real. The global brand now insert traceability, carbon data, quality consistency into supplier scorecard. This actually not for the preference. This is the condition for the order. So the manual dye house cannot generate the digital evidence, which is required for the buyer demand. As a result, the Bangladesh dye house are under pressure to move from operator demanded production to the controlled data-driven operation. As a die-house automation provider, Logicart Automation helps factories align with the evolving buyer requirement by digitalizing the full workflow from lab recipe approval to bulk execution. So every batch carries a complete digital record of the recipe vision, dyes and chemical lot, machine parameter, and process timeline. With the automated dispensing and dosing plus machine connectivity and real-time process monitoring, dye house can improve the RFT performance, reduce shade variation, and minimize corrective redyeing, which is directly lowering the water, steam, chemical consumption, and effluent load. This actually helps customer to support the brand scorecard and compliance requirement. So the factories actually the time is to move from manual system to automation system. Now I come to your second question that if the factories delays for automation, what is the risk they may face? First, they may lose their nominated and preferred suppliers because when the supplier demands the traceable record, carbon data, and other information, utility information, they are failed to support these two buyer. At the same time, their cost per kg will increase because they need to do a lot of reworks as they cannot have the specific dosing system. So every time it varies. So rework will increase. And at the same time, the utility cost also continue increase. So this is a big risk for the buyers if they don't go automation or meet the buyer requirement. And manual record fail the third-party chemical and sustainability audits. So if they are not providing the information for the audit's requirement, they fail the buyer order. And the European Union Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive make factories without emission data incompatible with the major brands. So this is the another risk for the customer who not going for automation. And rework extra chemical dosing reduce the profit and factory cannot improve easily without better control. And the green finance need the clear ESG data, that is water, energy, chemical, and emission. Manual factory usually cannot provide this data, so they may not qualify. And as you know that Bangladesh export around 60% of garments to EU. The
yes.
market enforcing this standard widens. So automation is no longer a competitive advantage. It is the baseline for staying in the supply chain.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my next question is, despite the clear advantage, many dyeing units or factories in Bangladesh still rely on semi-automated or manual process due to investment concern, skill gaps, workforce, resistance to change. What are the key barriers preventing wider automation adoption in Bangladesh, and what strategic steps should factories take to overcome them?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. This also the question you asked is for the key barrier preventing the wider automation adaptation in Bangladesh is also have two parts. So actually, as a die house automation provider, we find that the main barrier to wider automation adaptation in Bangladesh are less about the technology and more about the confidence, capability, and change management. For what I have seen, the dye house in Bangladesh face five major barriers to adopting the automation, and most of them are business and people issues rather than technical one. The first one I like to mention is the return on the investment often fails is unclear. The automation required a standard upfront spending, while many dye houses operate on thin margin and must focus on the short-term order. So it is hard to justify additional investment internally for the automation. Also, if the automation is not planned during a new factory setup, later the installation become difficult and costly. Second is the skill gap are a serious challenge. Workers are experienced in manual method, but not in running automated system. And many supervisors and mid-level managers lack the technical confidence to troubleshoot, use data, and manage the digital program. So they are afraid to use the automation. Third, what I found that resistance to change. The owner and higher level management, they feel that the current way is good enough. So they delay action until the buyer complaint increase or the order start to move elsewhere. The fourth one, I found that the awareness of the fragmented. Many factories owner understand that the brand are demanding sustainability improvement, but they don't know how and which automation system upgrades directly help reduce the water, chemical, and energy, and also the rework. So they are not understand which automation is suitable for his factory and how he can meet the buyer requirement. The fifth, I found there is one of the important issue is the structural risks, especially the electricity issue is very common in Bangladesh, and another is a spare parts availability and local technical support. So the customer actually is not confident to use the automation, and they feel that if they implement automation, it cannot be run properly in his factory. So which actually increase the hesitation. Even the technology, everything is proven technology. So this is the barrier they face. Now I come to your second part, how we can overcome. So to
Yeah.
overcome this barrier, as we are logical, we not only support the die house automation, we also support the solution and provide the consultancy. So the logical support the die house with a step-by-step approach that reduce the risk and build the customer confidence. Logical not only support and they also give the solution at the same time. So we often consultant support to adopt the die house plan and sustain automation solution. We believe the different level of die house automation is depends on the customer production volume, machine type, fabric range, quality target, and the customer own budget. So the step-by-step approach allow factories start with what is the most important for his requirement, and in future there will be no issue for upgradation. From the beginning, we help the customer to create an automation roadmap and include the automation ready planning in new factory setup or expansion project. This includes the layout, factory layout, piping, and tank arrangement, utilities part, and specific location for the dosing room and proper cable routing. With this planning, future upgrade become easier, faster, and cheaper. The factory don't want to do the changing piping work, relocate tank, and rebuild the civil structure after installation. So they always prefer the pre-plan that we provide the support to customer. Second is we reduce the skill gap. How we reduce it? We provide the training, different level of training, like operator. We provide the how the operator daily use the machine. We also provide the training for supervisor. We actually do the troubleshooting, some part of reporting, and we also provide the training for technical people for the calibration, troubleshooting part, and finally we also provide the training for the higher management. So all the people actually know how to use this automation system. Thirdly, we improve the awareness by linking the automation directly to the buyer requirement. We show the customer how to use the machine, how to get the data, how to get the energy water report. So we also provide the dashboard with the reports. So the any management can see the information what they require. So that everyone can clearly see all the reports, including the water, stream, chemical, where is the bed situation now, how many production they have done today. So all the information they can see in front of them. And this data they can use for the buyer reporting and also the audit reporting. So this actually helps. So we provide this kind of solution. And fourth is Logica reduce the infrastructure and support risks. We open the local office in Bangladesh. This gives factory faster service response, easier communication, and strong on-site technical backup when troubleshoot or other problem is happen. We also reduce the downtime by ensuring the spare parts availability and maintain a critical spare parts stock in our local office so the common failure can be fixed quickly without waiting for long import lead time. In addition, we support the factories with preventive maintenance schedule and regular calibration plan for dosing and measuring equipment. This keeps the automation system accurate over time, improves the reliability in daily production, and helps the factory to maintain stable quality and consistent performance from the automation. The barrier to die house automation in Bangladesh is not technology, it's trust. And logical automation builds the trust through phase implementation, proven ROI, a partnership that does not end after installation and commission. It just start the relation with the customer after installation, providing the better service and support. So this actually help the customer to overcome the barrier that you mentioned in your second part of the question, that was the how the factories can overcome automation adaptation. Thank you.
How do you see the future of dye house automation adoption in Bangladesh over the next 5 to 10 years?
That my colleague, Mr. Alan Brisbane, already explained. If we take the proper action right now, because the global is moving for industrial 4.0 and sustainability and carbon dioxide, zero carbon dioxide emission, and this kind of planning. So if Bangladeshi factories take the decision right now for upgradation, who have already have the factory, the plan for how they can upgrade the system and go for automation. For future factories, they can start the planning now. So we can catch the requirement for the buyers in and also the nowadays you know that the lead time of the production is very shorter day by day. And the price of the product is not increased that much that our all the utilities cost and manpower is increasing. So if we don't take this measure right now to move to the higher production efficiency and also the sustainable and the low carbon dioxide emission for example ESG and others. So if we start now, then we can reach and we have the better future because we have good number of people in Bangladesh. We have lot of good factories in Bangladesh. We can take the challenge.
I think I get the answer of all of my questions. So, thank you, Mr. Alan sir and Dr. Arifur Rahman, for sharing your such valuable insights on current issues on auto die-house automation. So, I think this discussion has clearly highlighted the importance of automation adoption, not just an technological upgradation, but as a strategic necessity for the sustainability, efficiency, and global competitiveness. So, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us